Hi, welcome to Hold the Light, a show for lifelong learners who are curious about the ways we can deepen our connection to our personal transformation and spiritual growth. I'm Lori Gunning-Grossman. This season, in addition to occasional interviews, I'm sharing my reflections on the wisdom and offerings of the book, The Freedom Transmissions, chapter by chapter. If you're interested in creating more peace, simplicity, balance, forgiveness, and freedom in your life, welcome to this space. Welcome back to the second part of my conversation with Carissa Schumacher. This is a continuation from the second chat I had with her here on Hold the Light within the Freedom Transmissions book study series. If you haven't listened to the first part of our conversation, that's available in the prior episode. We cover a lot of interesting topics there, including how to be in communication and partnership with the divine and how to deal with needs versus wants. In this episode, we talk about whether or not she feels the pressure to live up to or to match the wisdom of Yeshua in her everyday life. We discuss whether or not she considered publishing the Freedom Transmissions without the name Yeshua attached to it. She shares what the aftermath has been like since she published the book. And then finally, we discuss two specific transmissions that Carissa wanted to share with all of you right now. Here, we continue my conversation with Carissa Schumacher. Okay, so here is a question that somebody asked, and I love this one. This person said, since Carissa channels Yeshua, does she feel the obligation to live up to a certain level of wisdom? Does she feel like when she speaks to people, does she feel as though she has to be as wise as the things that she says when she channels? So, meaning, do you feel any pressure to live up to a certain standard, being that you're a channel to Yeshua?
He unburdened me from that. Like he unburdens all of us in our unique ways from pretty much the moment that he first came through. After his avatar had been seated in my vessel, because that's the type of full body channel that I am. I'm not like, there are some full body channels where the spirit like just kind of comes in like the breeze and then leaves. For me, it's a very physical experience. So at the time that he was seated in my channel, which was about 2010, 2009, there was a period building up until 2019. And I really didn't know how long it would be. You know, I was like, okay, am I going to start channeling him in 2013? And each year would go by. And then by 2017, I'm like, maybe this is never going to happen. Like I didn't choose the date and the time that he first came through. And during that time, like I was creating this, like, it was balanced, but there was still a lot of sediment of like standards for perfection. Like down to like eating, food, drinking, everything. And during those years that I was giving teachings on journeys, it would take me months to come up with a teaching. And in those years of journeys were a lot more, I would say, almost like serious, because I was placing this pressure on myself to be like, you know, the guide and the spiritual one and others' transformation. Of course, there was play and ceremony and all of that. But when Yeshua came through and began coming through, all of that died. It was like very, very painful in some ways, because everything that I had like expected about needing to like be perfect and like all of this like unworthiness and it all just died. And so the answer is no. He freed me from those expectations, largely which are like social constructs and external horizontal world expectations and supposed to's. And he freed me to just be me. So now I can come into a journey, but it's just even people are feeling it like in just like their daily lives with me. I can just be Carissa, shadow and light. My shadow sometimes expresses through like dark humor. Like I love for like 8 years, I was like only listening to like Krishna Das and like harp and piano music. And Yeshua comes, and now I'm like, wow, in my 20s, I really loved like hard rock and like love metal. And now I allow for all of that. I allow my humor to be there. There's just a lot more humility to my life. Like he handles the transmission. So when I come to a journey, I just get to be me. And I'm very open. When people ask me, like, what did Yeshua mean by this? Sometimes I'm like, I don't know. And sometimes I'm like, I can share what I experience or what I sense that he's expressing within this wisdom, but that is the joy of his co-creation with you. And it would not be of spiritual integrity for me to say this is what he meant. Because what it means to me may be very different to another person. With this said, what I am extremely disciplined in practicing integrity to maintaining a pure channel. Which means that there are a lot of aspects of my life structures in the horizontal that need for a lot of space, lot of alone time, the space to be able to exercise, to keep my body healthy, the needs to have like food that isn't disruptive to my digestive system, time, space to be able to go through breathing, to keep my heart chakra open, to cleanse out any sediment that I may be absorbing from others, transformations, because Yeshua, he takes a lot of your burdens. And even in sessions, I'm feeling this, like after a session, I'll sometimes have like a lot of gunk in my heart chakra. And so I need the space and the time. And there is nothing that's going to get in the way of that. So practicing, it is a need for spirit, for me as a full body channel, like of Yeshua, one consciousness, to maintain a clear channel. So I don't, but the thing that's funny about it is that I wouldn't want to be going to parties. Like I love children, but there was never a point in my life that I was like, I will die if I don't have children in this life. And so all of the things that, say like having children or going to weddings or parties or traveling a lot that bring a lot of people joy and are needs inherent to their essence, those are no-nos for me, but I also wouldn't want to, I wouldn't want that anyways.
Yeah.
So what I'm expressing is that it's not putting myself to like a high standard that requires like perfection and guilt and no wiggle room. Like I make mistakes all the time. Like I miss the mark all the time, and that's totally fine. But there needs to be, on a daily basis, the core commitment to practicing integrity and creating a life structure that is conducive not only for my physical health and survival, but also for spirit to be able to come through. And by the way, not only Yeshua. I am also a forensic psychic medium. In my individual sessions, like Yeshua, journeys are Yeshua's things, books are Yeshua's things. Sessions, well, he's like, there and present as he is at all times in all of our lives ever, there are spirit energies, other spirit energies that come through. And so to be able to receive the downloads, the meta, the energy, and translate that in an accurate way that isn't being diluted or filtered through my unintegrated shadow or ego, that is something that is an absolute commitment that I make. But it's not anything that is a burden to me. As a matter of fact, it brings a lot of joy, to really live in this balance where I get to be human Carissa. Yeshua takes a lot of the stress off. And in this covenant, of course, I'm able to express my needs. And like my sharing of the New York City journey story, like Yeshua's really good about bringing the needs within the horizontal, but that requires me to be committed to the vows because I took vows to my covenant in service to spirit. Like my service is to the vertical in this life.
Beautiful.
Spilling and weaving that through. So that's a wonderful question.
It's a good question, yeah. And many people thank you for the level of commitment that you have committed to, that enables many people to experience Yeshua and the Freedom Transmissions. And let me just also say really quickly, I've been on journeys with you, and just listening to you and your own wisdom is actually one of my favorite parts of the journey. I love hearing what you have to say and your experience after you go back after a day in the transmissions and you listen to it, and then you come in and talk about it the next day. That's one of my favorite parts. I love it. It's true. It is true. I was just thinking about that the other day.
Thank you. Thank you for sharing that.
Yeah, of course. Okay. How about this question? Listen to this. Okay. So someone asked, did anyone ever suggest, like a friend or your book editor, that you should publish the book, The Freedom Transmissions, anonymously and not with the name Yeshua on it? So what I think that they're asking is, do you think that if this book didn't have the name Yeshua on it, or your being a channel attached to it, would more people be open to reading it? And on top of that, what kind of reception did you get when you first published this book? And has that changed years later?
Wow. That is get to the root, hit it in the jugular. That is a very, very loaded potato.
Okay.
All right. So I'm going to get into that question is like an entire podcast. So I'm going to keep this as simple as possible.
Okay.
There are some vertical reasons for this and some horizontal reasons for this. This very question is something that I struggled with very deeply. Even when I found out we want to publish Freedom Transmissions, there was a moment that, and it lasted for a pretty long time, all the way up to publication and even after, that I was afraid for a lot of different reasons. There are people in the world that, I could be killed. And there were conversations that I had with myself, with Yeshua. And Yeshua honestly didn't care. And the interesting thing is that, a lot of people, they love the Freedom Transmissions, but it's like they can't connect to Yeshua, or the Yeshua is like their barrier. Mm-hmm. Well, my religious conditioning and Jesus and blasphemy, and I may rot in hell if that's actually a real thing. I don't think it is, but it could be. So I understand what this question is alluding to. So nevertheless, I sat with it, and the first thing that came to me is that it would be an absolute betrayal. It would be a self-absorbed, fear-based decision for me to take ownership as the author. And I was not going to, so the Freedom Transmissions by Carissa Schumacher.
Right.
Or just channeled by Carissa Schumacher. Channeled by would be a little bit different, but there was absolutely no way. My fear was that would be easier for me. And frankly, if Yeshua's name wasn't on there, it would probably sell thousands and thousands more copies as when Yeshua is there. So, but I realized that would be an absolute betrayal. And I was not going to release a book hiding behind a lie. Not in my essence, not in my nature, not in my spirit to do that. Spiritual integrity is the absolute core foundation of my covenant in service to this life, and always has been. There are times in sessions where someone wants me to channel someone, and I know that the person that they want me to connect them with in spirit does not want to be recalled to the earthly plane. I don't care how many threats they make, how much money they throw at me. I'm not going to do it. Spiritual integrity is the absolute core foundation, and without it, I would be lost. I would be lost within myself. And I know what that feels like from having a couple of years having created a supposed to life and then going through the ravages of that one being destructed many years ago.
Yeah.
So the second thing that came to me, and this is what Yeshua brought to me, is that this is really, someone has to go first. I've had all these sessions with people who are like connecting to Archangel Michael or receiving messages or going through their awakening, and but people are like afraid to talk about it. Like I even look at someone like Daniel Gibbons, who is an incredible channel for Mother Mary, Divine Mother. And like just like the stigma of it, she had death threats at certain points within her life. But I was like, someone has to come out of the closet and start introducing everything that he's sharing. It would be so selfish of me not to publish this or to withhold this from the world, because basically what he's in this era shift, what he's introducing is not the Jesus consciousness that has existed for the past 2,000 years and that is keeping things kind of like bound in some pretty dangerous structures. He's introducing us to the Christ, in the presence of the Christ, not only beyond us, but also all around us, immanent and emergent, meaning within us. And so I was like, this is it. And if I'm going to withhold this, then it's going to be someone else that does it. But he has given me these transmissions, and these are not mine. I don't own them. These are for the world. And even just the name, Yeshua, like people are so used to Jesus, and that wasn't even his name. And so in putting his name there, yes, does it cause a rift with some people that like want Jesus but not the Christ or how? Yes, it does. But on the other hand, I also know that this is his way of really separating the wheat from the chaff. People that just want another self-help book written by a former neuroscientist who became a medium, like that is very different from what he is offering here. And this is his voice, this is his essence. So for it to work, for the alchemy pathway to open and flow, someone moving beyond maybe the healthy or unhealthy resistance to getting the book, that's like the beginning. Just buying the book.
Yeah.
Or opening the book, that is the first handshake. That is the willingness to begin the co-creation, even if you don't read a single page of the book. It's just an openness. And so I then said to HarperCollins, why not just take me out of this altogether?
Mm-hmm. Okay.
Why don't we just say the Freedom Transmissions, Yeshua? That's what I want, because I still was a little bit nervous. I'm going to hide. And HarperCollins was like, unfortunately, no, Carissa, because there are laws in the horizontal about a book not being possible to be published by, in the legal jargon is okay, so horrible, a quote unquote dead person.
Okay.
And apparently there have been like rulings about this and in certain courts and whatnot. And Judith Kerr, who is, the president of Harper One, she was like, Carissa, own it. Own it. You are shielded. We are going to shield you. We are going to present this. They agreed to like everything that I asked for with regards to like no publicity. I was like, I'll do one thing. Like maybe a couple of I'll do one thing. I'm like under the radar. I've been under the radar. This is really overwhelming for me. I don't want to come in with like guns swinging. Like we're going to set the foundation, move on with organic manifestation. That's going to be the flow of the marketing of the freedom transmissions and the flow of the energy of those it reaches. So it's kind of funny that it was that way horizontally, but also vertically. I mean, usually after a book is released, like the sales plummet after a little while. And with the freedom transmissions, it kind of started out and it's just been steady. And then over the past year, it's been growing. That's the complete opposite curve of the publishing industry.
Amazing.
And so Judith Kerr was like, you need to own it. There are legalities here. And apparently where that came from, and you may find this really fascinating, is a channeled text called A Course in Miracles.
Okay.
And so a lot of people, what they reflect back is like, oh, I was like open to A Course in Miracles, even before realizing, because they didn't put Jesus Christ on the book.
Mm-hmm.
So that was like the beginning. Like that is an authentically channeled, that was Yeshua coming through this woman. And the story is basically she was like a random psychology professor at Columbia University. Like she like worked in psychiatry. And then one day she hears this voice and the voice starts talking to her. And the voice says, I'd like you to write this down. It's called A Course in Miracles. And the woman was like, this is bad shit. This is ridiculous. She goes to her colleague and is like, this voice is like telling me what to do, expecting her colleague to like give her like, psychotics or something. And the colleague said, why don't you listen to the voice? Why don't you just write it down? And so she did. And that became A Course in Miracles. And organically, like at first it was just like very small, like just owned, published by foundations, but it gradually like began to spread a little bit more and a little bit more. And sadly, 10 years after she had channeled this, the author or the channel died. And 2 years after that, someone called Marianne Williamson saw it, found it, and she was talking with Oprah and brought it up with Oprah. And all of a sudden, it sold like 2 million copies.
Oh, wow.
Needed to be republished, but there was this huge like legal issue over who was the author. Like multiple court decisions that affect all of the publishing industry happened as a result of that.
Oh.
And so it was like determined this can't be channeled like by Jesus Christ. It needs to be channeled by the entity that the voice spoke through.
Mm-hmm.
And so this was like Yeshua's like sneaky way. He's like, I allowed this to be anonymous like the first time I came through in an authentic channeled text. This time, so the imprint has been set, but this time the world is ready. The collective is becoming ready to receive this. And so that's why it's there.
Oh, it's so good. Oh, I love that you answered this question. Because it was one of those questions when it was asked, I was a little bit like, is this okay to ask? But it's great. It's fantastic. And, it also just makes me think a lot about what Yeshua talks about in the Freedom Transmissions. That for me is something that just keeps coming up for me is when he talks about originality. Finding your original structures, containers, just your original self, and put that out there. use that for your decisions or your creativity or your work. And I think about that a lot. And as you were talking about this, I was like, this is such an original container. I mean, you did mention like the Course of Miracles and something like this, where maybe you were like, can't it just be Yeshua? But, it all came together in like the perfect way is what it feels like. Yeah.
Sure. Well, there was no way with the entire part of the huge essence in the Freedom Transmissions is faith over fear.
Mm-hmm.
So Yeshua was holding me accountable for not being a dentist with bad teeth.
Yeah.
We were not going to bring this to the world on the basis of fear and emitting things, which is so unoriginal. We were going to come into this with faith over fear.
Yeah.
And so the other thing that I'll pepper in, so the person that asked this question, the reception, this is where things get really crazy. So as I said, I was like, we're not going to like really like heavily, like I've never been one to advertise anything ever. I mean, I didn't have a website for like 12 years. So I was like, we're going to like, we'll pepper things in like organic manifestation, like podcasts. Okay, I'll do like the New York Times feature, whatever. So nobody knew what was going to happen because this is kind of like uncharted territory. The poor HarperCollins marketing people. So nevertheless, it comes out. And of course, there's like, the social media feedback and people like blah, blah, blah. But that exists for everything.
Yeah.
That's released. But what happened, everybody kind of guessed that this was going to like really resonate with like Christian and agnostic, those demographics. And it grew Jewish demographic. Mm-hmm. It became the #1 book on Amazon for weeks in the category of women in Judaism.
Oh, wow.
And like Judaic mysticism.
Yeah.
Or something like that is where, so like a lot of Jews love Yeshua. Also, shocking, atheists.
Yeah.
Maybe because he does introduce some like scientific things or breaks things down in a way that is not religious, that is not like indoctrinated, that is just about exploration and openness. That was a shocker. Mm-hmm. And Muslims.
Oh, wow. Interesting.
And yes, of course, there are, Christians and Catholics and everything like that.
Yeah.
But it was just really interesting that it was like some of the demographics that were least expected that really resonated with this essence, because it's not like the dictation type of God. It's just more like openness. Can't even call it like a spiritual. It's like a sacred text.
Mm-hmm.
And so there's a little bit of a something for everyone. So it's just interesting that some of those demographics were really curious and welcoming and embracing of this. I think also it helped with a lot of Jewish people that we actually got his name right. That it was his Hebrew name, of course. Like if you're in Israel and you say, "What do you think about Jesus?" They'll go, "You mean Yeshua?" And so it's continued to grow and ripple. And I know that it will continue to, now that we are like really moving full throttle over these next 4 years and the age of Aquarius, and I'm glad that it wasn't just like, boom, like bestseller. Like that was never going to that never should happen with a book like this. Like even Eckhart Tolle, it was like 5 years after he wrote A Power of Now that Oprah founded and then it blossomed. It was like, 13 years after A Course in Miracles that it, blossomed, that it was ripe and ready to be received within the collective.
Yeah.
So I'm just letting it be and trusting, and it will be interesting to see where things go with the next 2 books as well.
As Yeshua says, let it be. Let it be.
Absolutely.
Okay. So as we are wrapping this up, I'm very curious to know if there's a chapter or a certain transmission or transmissions of the book that like you're feeling called to share or talk about right now?
We would be here for 17 hours. But luckily, people will be with you for 17 hours as they are going through this beautiful pathway with you.
Yeah.
So today, we still get to have more time with each other in a couple of months to do part 3. So today, I'm just going to focus on 2.
Okay.
The first is when he begins, the beginning of the chambers of the Sacred Heart. And this is when he does begin to talk a little bit more about the era shift and Gaia and what we would be experiencing collectively. And I just want to note that this part of the transmission was originally channeled on February 9th of 2020.
Okay.
The rest of it was March 8th and 18th when the pandemic. So he offered these first words prior to the pandemic, and then during the pandemic, he offered his wisdom on the chambers of the Sacred Heart, like right out of the gates, the first of the individual voids of 2020. So he says, "Behold, coming into peace is an internal journey. I promise you, beloved, if you are in a war zone in the external world and you are at peace in the internal, there is nothing about the chaos that disconnects you. For a heart at peace renders you immune from all that is of separateness and war. Peace is a union, a marriage of truth and love. It is a blending of your shadow and light, masculine and feminine. It is a resonance of flow, connected to the divine within self and thus all life. Feeling worthy, abundant, aware, present, and accepting of all things, no matter how you perceive them, as gifts and opportunities for service. Peace is a faith that no matter what you perceive, you are connected and whole. Always have been, always will be. That is connected through the now. All things are occurring within the now. All of your past lives, future lives are occurring within the now, within this present moment. This should help bring more peace to your heart. You have already been born and died and reborn. What you are to experience tomorrow has already occurred. So why worry about it? You know exactly what to do when you are present, always. As such, just because you are not at peace with a situation does not mean you cannot still be at peace with yourself. You are not the situation. Situations should have no bearing on your peace unless you allow them to. You did not come to this world for situational peace. Peace does not need a modifier. You came to this world to come to peace with yourself, and as a result, to serve from that peace through your divine essence. There's that word again. Not your divine spirit, not your perfect self. To serve from that peace through your divine essence. I don't even need to say anything.
Yeah. Yeah.
That this passage is, I feel, if anyone were to take anything away from the Freedom Transmissions, that one is a good one to pack in your knapsack.
Yes, yes, yes.
And to the next, and especially now, moving into fall and the holidays and the final movement, transition out, Pluto out of Capricorn into Aquarius officially, permanently. I feel that it's important, like coming into even the new year in 2025, for people to be receiving and drinking in that wisdom and that reminder. The second that I wish to share is very emotional for me. It was through an experience I had at the beginning of this year. And actually, for a couple of months, I hadn't picked up the Freedom Transmissions. I was serving on journeys, and then this experience came. And it leveled me for the period of 7 days. It was a period of 7 days of the greatest joy, terror, grief within my life. And I needed to make a very, very difficult decision. One of those decisions that no matter the choice, just doesn't feel easy. And in the end, once that had occurred and peace was restored, everything was perfect, everything was whole. And I realized the toil over this choice, it wasn't even a choice to begin with. But during the most critical, what felt like just a very visceral, it was only couple of days, one of the deepest voids I've experienced in a long time, I picked up the Freedom Transmissions because I felt lost and disconnected, which is something that's pretty rare for me. And I picked it up to 252. And the words popped into my heart, and my eyes opened, and my heart opened, and the peace wafted through, and the light wafted through. And there was a beauty and grace and magic, unlike anything that I had ever felt before. And it stayed with me ever since. He says, "Beloved, the light does not and cannot fade. The moments you perceive the light is fading from your life or the world, recognize that the light is not fading from you. You are fading from your own light. No one else on the outside, no matter what they have or have not done to or for you, carries the responsibility for that. You are responsible for your own perceptions and distortions of perception. And despite your perception, the light is growing stronger within yourselves and the world. There is an opportunity, a birthing emerging, despite looking out at the world and perceiving discord. Do not feel helpless. Engage in the transformation by taking responsibility for your own peace."
Amen.
Amen.
Oh, that's so beautiful, Carissa. And I really appreciate you sharing that and sharing, a little window into your life and into your process, and seeing how even you birth these transmissions, you still can find the medicine in it. You go back to it and find the medicine in it. And it's so powerful. These words are so powerful.
Our humanity is our divinity. It's held within all our divinity. And the cultivation of that humanity within ourselves, but with also within the world, is deeply important during these times. And I just thank you so much for this time together today, this beautiful space, not only with you, but with all that are tuning in and listening now at a later point in time. I just want to express thank you. Thank you for your courage. Thank you for your willingness, your openness. Thank you for your strength. Thank you for your essence, and thank you for your presence in this world at this time. And I love you, Lori.
Oh, I love you. You are truly a beautiful, beautiful soul on this earth, Carissa. And you, in your own wisdom and also channeling Yeshua's wisdom, it's so appreciated by many. I brought up the word medicine, but it is a medicine for many. It's a beautiful path. It's a way to discover ourselves and dig deeper into that path of peace. And you are held and beloved by so many.
I will receive that from you, beloved, with joy. I don't always get that feedback in the elfin forest from my snails and my spiders.
Yeah. Well, let me also just say that I have been getting some really lovely feedback and comments from people who are listening to this podcast right now as we're all just going through the Freedom Transmissions. And people are reading this book. It is meaningful to them. It keeps going. It keeps on serving and delivering. So, oh God, Carissa, thank you so much. I cannot wait to talk to you again. A later time, we're going to talk even more about the transmissions and just dig deeper once again together.
I cannot wait. And I will see you on the other side.
I'll see you on the other side.
Huge love. Namaste.
Big love. Namaste. So that's the conclusion of my latest conversation with Carissa Schumacher. We'll come together one more time for a final episode in this book study series where we'll spend time discussing many different transmissions in the Freedom Transmissions. In the next episode, we will continue with our book study, picking back up with part 2 of the thread and stitching of the dreaming. So if you haven't yet, finish that chapter from pages 96 to 106 and do the personal process writing at the end of the chapter. If you're all caught up, try this exercise. Randomly flip open to a page in any of the chapters we've already read and see what pops out to you. See what's meant for you to read and meditate upon in that moment. Or before you open the page, ask a question and then see what's revealed to you. I do this all the time, and because I like to underline many parts of my books, I like to reread what I've underlined on any given page that I open. Thanks for listening. Keep holding the light. To connect and learn more, find me on Substack at Hold the Light with Lori Gunning-Grossman. Subscribe to receive my weekly emails, discussion threads, community events, and more. You can also find me on Instagram at Hold the Light Collective. Hold the Light is produced by me, Lori Gunning-Grossman. Jonathan Grossman is our producer, editor, and all-around sound guru. Theme music by Jonathan Grossman. And this show is recorded at Night Shift Audio.